Hi, fishing jerks. Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Oh, I didn't set this all up. We were talking. Okay, got to get this set. That's good. And that's good. Okay. Uh, hi. Hi, everybody. We have Mr. Paul Soltero tonight. Am I saying your last name correctly? It's close.
It's SOL Soltero.
Soltero. Soltero.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know it was close, but I was
It's
always
close enough. It's all vowels.
Yeah. Excuse me. All right. So, for you regular people, which there's just a few people in so far tonight, but for you regular people, or for you people that don't know, we don't look at the chat the whole first time. The whole first part of the conversation. Paul and I, we're just going to be talking. We're just going to be chatting. We're going to learn about Paul, what makes him tick, what he's done in his life, stuff like that. Second half, though, we'll open it up to the chat. You guys can ask questions, and we'll be interacting with the chat. So if we don't say hi, that's exactly why. That's why we won't. And also, real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to Bex. Again, I've mentioned this a few times, but Bex is looking for some. I guess not inspiration isn't the right word, but she's looking for some help. She's creating some artwork for the Keystone Clash. She's going to be a vendor at the Clash, so she is selling her own artwork, which is amazing, and she's looking for some help. She would like to have some photographs of your fish, and she'll give you a print. She hopes to be able to give everybody a print who submits photographs that she uses, and she'll make sure to credit your photograph as well as the inspiration for that. So go look at her community tab on her page, and if one of the mods could drop it, please do. And if you've got any really cool pics of different fish, check it out. She's got some specific ones she's looking for, but again, look at the community tab over there. Okay, let's jump in. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Rick.
How you doing?
Hanging in there. You've been very
just
busy.
Hanging in there. I don't believe that.
Listen, I tell you something. If I don't know how I did all this stuff before I retired.
Yeah.
I have no time. I'm running around every day.
Yeah. And before you used to run around all day, every day, but you had a job as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that job I ran around all day. So
yeah, I sort of get it, although I really don't do anything now. So I guess I really can't say that.
I just got to learn how to volunteer for less things.
Yeah, that's hard though, especially when you're in a great community like ours. That's where I seem to fall into a lot of volunteering, but I love it. So. All right, so let's start at the beginning. Now, I know that you're a New Jersey guy. You currently live in North Carolina. Were you born and raised in Jersey? You sound like you were born and raised.
Well, I was born in the Bronx.
Okay.
So that's basically there. I mean, it's right across the river. So,
Yeah.
But I was born there, but I never really lived in the Bronx. My family had already moved out of the Bronx and moved to North Jersey.
Okay. All right. So you lived your first formative years in the Garden State.
Yes. Well, basically, outside of college, until I retired, I lived in New Jersey.
Okay. What made you go down to North Carolina for retirement too?
Well, I knew when I was retiring from UPS.
Uh-oh, we lost your voice there. It broke up and then we lost it. Now you're muted. I think it's something with the headset, but right now you're muted. We can't hear you at all. How embarrassing. Okay, you're off mute. You're back.
I'm off mute. So screw those.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, you sound fine this way.
Yeah, basically, you have to make a combination. It's 55 and 25 years. So you have to be 55 and 25 years working at UPS to get your full retirement. I knew when that date was going to happen. So Nancy and I decided that we weren't going to live in New Jersey anymore when I retired, just because I had it up to here with ice and snow. It's not like cold doesn't bother me. It's just I don't like ice and snow.
Yeah, especially driving in it.
Yeah. I mean, and again, it's not me the drive. It's the people that don't know how to drive in it.
Yeah.
So we started looking when we just to get an idea. They had these things that we call Live South. They were like real estate expos. So we went to them. They had them in a bunch of hotels down by in our area, and we just took like information from all these developments. We started in Virginia and worked our way to Georgia, and we went all the way out to Tennessee and whatever. So, so I went through all this information. My wife's family has always had a house on the Jersey Shore. So she says, look, I want to be close to the ocean. So basically anything an hour west of the ocean got thrown away. So we started looking at areas, and we decided. I found this area of North Carolina had a bunch of developments at the time that we could come down on one of my week's vacations. So I made all the appointments, and I told all the salespeople, I'm not buying. We're kicking the tires. Never been here before, and they agreed. They said, come down, show us. So, I mean, at that time, this was like 2005. They were having this big real estate thing. So they were putting people up in hotels, feeding you. So basically I came down here for free. All it cost me was my airfare. But the funny thing is that when we came down here, we flew into Myrtle Beach. And unbeknownst to me until like a week or two before that, because one of my clients clued me into it, we flew down during bike week. So we were the only people on the airplane with no leather. So
nice.
Yeah, we're the only. Everybody else is full leather. We came on like, what
do I get into?
And like I said, we basically told people when we went that we weren't buying. You know, we're just down here. We're looking. We're trying to figure out where we want to go. And Nancy made me promise that Nancy's my wife. She made me promise that we weren't buying on this trip. And I says, fine. We've never been here before. I'm not committing that kind of money to someplace we've never been to before.
Yeah.
Our next to last day, we were down here. So we had worked our way up from Myrtle Beach up to Wilmington. We roll into the Waterford development. Guy takes us around. We're on a lot. My wife turns to me and says, find out how much it is. I said, I thought we weren't buying. Find out how much it is. Yes, dear. So long story short, we ended up buying the place. And the funny thing is that he said, look, I know you didn't come down here to buy. Go home and think about it. Give me a call next week. He says, if you don't want it, no hard feelings. I can turn around and sell it to somebody else. So we committed to it, but he never took money from me. If this was in New Jersey, they would have taken me for my lungs before I would have left. Here they said, oh, go home. So just go talk about it. It took them 6 weeks for them to send the paperwork to me. And the lot was off the market. So it's a completely different way of doing business down here. But like I'm a gardener, so I'm out all the time. That's one of the reasons we have the lot we have. I have 0.6 of an acre lot, so it's because I like to garden. That's my jam.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff.
So so that's how we ended up here, and we don't regret it. I mean, there's a few things that we would do miss about New Jersey, and it's mostly food related.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask.
You know, it's mostly food related. When we came down here, there's a chain of supermarkets down here. It's called Harris Teeter. They're part of Kroger.
Yeah.
So I go into the deli, and I'm looking for bread. And I asked the girl behind the deli counter. I says, "Excuse me, do you have any crusty bread?" She looked at me like I had 3 eyes. And I'm like, so I said it again. Do you have any crusty bread? And the wheel started spinning. And she turns around. She says, "We don't sell no stale bread here." I says, "I'm not New Jersey anymore." So it's kind of like, pizza's hard to, there's pizza's kind of like few and far between. I can count on one hand how many decent places down here have decent pizza.
Yeah.
We did find a really good Italian restaurant down here, but guess what? They're from New Jersey.
Yeah.
So it's such like that. It's basically just the food, but we've met a really, really nice group of people down here. So it's a lot to do. Wilmington's a college town, so there's a lot going on.
Nice. Yep.
And so there's always activities going on.
Yeah. What you said though, I bet you a lot of Southerners when they move north run into the same type of stuff. Even though I've talked about that in the past, is that I think the country isn't what it was, 50, 60 years ago, where there really wasn't. Nowadays, you can find those types of food items in the South or in the North that you're used to, a lot more readily.
Yeah,
I bet you it's the same thing for Southerners going north.
They're like I said, the other thing is they have a hard time getting people to work. I mean, there are all these restaurants and stuff are trying to open up down here. They don't have the population, the workers to support them, or the quality of workers. Friend of mine got hired to run an Italian restaurant because he used to have his own Italian deli up north, and the Italian restaurant was struggling. So he goes there and he says, "Paul, the first day I'm there, I meet the chef. His qualifications for working in this restaurant were flipping burgers in McDonald's." So it's kind of like the workforce hasn't kept pace with the population, the education or whatever. I don't want to be. It's a fact. It's just not. They don't have enough people to man to work in the places that they're trying to open.
Gotcha.
A lot of beer places down here. A lot of places go for fresh beer. I mean, a lot of brew pubs and microbreweries. They seem to have no problem staffing them, but restaurants, stuff like that, they it's a hard time getting quality people.
And you're probably looking for a little bit higher quality, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
I just like good food. I don't care. I like good food. I graduated from the Culinary Institute.
Okay.
Park. So Harvard on the Hudson. And I worked in good restaurant before I worked at UPS. That's what I did. I was in the restaurant business. And I worked in Manhattan, and I worked in some big places. But my wife will tell you I'm the easiest person to cook for. As long as it's good, I don't care what it is. There's only two things I don't eat. I don't eat mussels, and I don't eat escargot, and that's it.
Why? Those are delish.
I used to clean. Okay. I used to clean wild caught mussels.
Okay.
And you don't want to know what's. I used to eat them before that. You don't want to know. You don't want to know what's in those net bags with those mussels. And escargot. I eat squangili, which is conch, but escargot, if it's not cooked right, most people don't cook it right. It's like chewing on an eraser.
It is, yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's not that I just prefer not to eat it because most of the time I get disappointed with it.
Gotcha.
And but mussels, my wife loves them. I said, "Here, you eat them."
And that's it. Those two things are it. You like everything else.
Oh, you don't want to know what I'll if it ain't, it's like, even if it is moving, I won't.
Okay. So it sounds like you didn't move around too much, though. I mean, it was New Jersey for most of your life.
No, I traveled, but it's just that basically I went to school in Jersey. Before I went to culinary, I was actually a biology major, so I went to a state school. And then we used to travel around. I mean, I went down to Florida, with my buddies. But outside of living anyplace else, the only thing I did for any amount of time was when I was upstate New York. And that's not even upstate for you. For me, it is. It's a 90-minute ride north of New York. It's upstate.
Where was that?
Poughkeepsie.
Okay, yeah.
Hyde
You
Park.
don't.
We were just in. The culinary was in Hyde Park, so I lived up there for 2 years.
It's funny what people, I consider upstate north of Albany and Western New York from right about the corner. So right between Syracuse and Rochester, that's Western New York. Upstate is anything above Albany. Albany's not. Everybody calls it upstate, but to me, it's not.
It's in the middle of state, but I'm driving it. So
everybody lives downstate, so everything is upstate.
I mean,
Everything's
I have relatives in Rockland County. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's upstate New York.
Yeah,
but because it's north of Yonkers.
Yeah.
So,
we don't consider it, but whatever. Who cares? It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. We all know what we're talking about. Where the Farrells live over there in the Adirondacks, that's really what I consider upstate. Is just because it's way the hell up there. It's a beautiful. I don't know. Have you been into the Adirondacks?
Yeah, we went. My buddies and I went up to Lake Placid.
Yeah, nice, beautiful.
I think the year after the Olympics, we went up there to ski. That was my one and only time skiing.
87, 80,
yeah,
somewhere around there.
Yeah. So that was my one and only time skiing, and I did my best James Bond impression. I skied backwards
on purpose.
No.
Okay.
So we had our one day on the slopes, and we said, yeah, that's enough. Let's go drink. So we hung out in the bars with the snow bunnies for a while.
Yeah. It's a beautiful area. It is. I do love living in upstate New York. Every place has its things. There's stuff I could complain about, but overall, I absolutely love. 20 years I've been here now, and it's home.
It's the one thing about me, even though I don't, cold doesn't bother me. I don't like winter because of what I do. My thing is I garden.
Yeah, so you can't do it.
There's nothing. I'm sitting out there when we were in New Jersey. I'm sitting out there looking out our kitchen window, and I'm looking out at that yard, and I'm like, when can I go out there?
Yeah, you're just in the planning. Well, you could always do this and bring it in.
Well, we did.
The
thing is,
it's not the same.
No, it's not the same. I have, it's just. I've been doing it since I'm a kid. My grandfather started me when I was like 4 years old. So that was my first garden, and I can tell you what it was. It was corn, tomatoes, and lettuce because that's what I ate, and that's what we planted.
Do you do a lot of vegetables and stuff now, or is it mostly decorative?
No, I do. I have this because that's what I ate. Well, wait a minute. Now, hold on.
Do you do a lot of vegetables and stuff now, or is it mostly decorative?
I hear myself. Hold on. I try to pop the chat out, and now we're double talking. No, I do both. But down here, there's every bug and disease known to man lives in this area. It's just because it never really gets cold here. I mean, I could, if I really wanted to, I could be in shorts and in shorts most of the year.
Yeah.
Again, because I don't feel cold, and I used to wear shorts at UPS most of the year too. But I grow tomatoes. I grow peppers. I have a big plot of garlic just waiting to get harvested. I got beans, I got blueberries, I got figs, blackberries. So I do grow, and I grow bananas too.
Really? So I've always wanted to do that. They have some.
I got bananas. They don't. We're not warm enough, long enough for them to fully ripen.
Okay.
So, but I do get bananas. I have persimmons. So I do grow a bunch of edibles, and then I have stuff on the back porch that all the herbs, but most of the yard is mostly ornamental because it's only my wife and myself. So it's like I went through all this big producing stuff, and by mid-season, people would see me coming with baskets of vegetables and lock their doors.
No more
zucchini. Those tomatoes out of here. So
persimmons. Persimmons are on a tree.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Those are delicious, but
they have to be like mush.
Yeah, you've probably bit into one when it wasn't. I mean, that's like it just
It's
takes all the moisture out of your mouth, and
it
it's like
gives you a permanent pucker. You walk around
yes,
like this.
yes,
Um,
yeah,
yeah. So basically I just grow enough for us and a couple of friends. They'll come over and they'll grab things, but I have the damnedest time getting tomatoes to grow here. I
really,
used to, because it's well, we don't have we don't really have a spring here. It goes from winter
yeah, boom,
to summer, and
yeah,
it stays 80 degrees from end of April all the way into past Thanksgiving. What really knocks the snot out of tomatoes is the nighttime temperature, and we rarely in the summertime we rarely go below 80 degrees. So tomatoes don't like that.
yeah,
So they want to, for them to set fruit, they want to be in that sweet spot between 70 and 75 degrees, and they're loving it. In Jersey, I could grow tomatoes on asphalt. Here, it's a struggle. Usually, I get one decent picking, and then they start to fall apart.
wow.
So the only
we get a lot of those.
what I do get is the cherry tomatoes because they ripen so fast.
Gotcha.
So I just plant a bunch of cherry tomatoes. The big beefsteaks.
Yeah.
You know,
what are they? The pear,
yeah,
pearl, the yellow ones.
Yeah. I grow those because those are nice and sweet,
and they're shaped like a pear. Actually,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
little. Those ones we did last year, and those went crazy. We had so many of them.
Yeah, so that's so that's my vegetable production. I tried melons last year. The freaking rabbits ate them. The rabbits, like I said, ate my eggplants, so I got to go planting more eggplants because there's no Italian garden without eggplants. I'm sorry, it got to have eggplant.
We tried the Japanese this year. We're trying to Japanese.
Yeah, they actually grow well because they grow. They don't get big and fat. They're longer, so they ripen faster.
Now, do you use any of your aquarium change water out, or any house plants or anything? Use any of that stuff?
Well, what I've been doing is since I take my pogo stemon octopus because the stuff grows so fast and I can't give it away anymore because there's nobody around here that wants it. It goes in my compost.
Okay.
I just compost it. When I do my water changes, I do save some of it to water the plants with. But I don't save because basically it's going right into a slop sink. So I usually save about 20 gallons of it, and then I'll use it to water the vegetables because you get but the flowers I don't care. I mean they'll So it's too much of a hassle keeping all those buckets floating around with fish water.
Yeah.
So what I do is I'll just take it out to the veg because all my vegetables are in raised beds, and I just throw it in a watering can, and I just.
Did you make the raised beds, or do you buy them?
No, I make them. I made them.
Yeah.
When we were building the house, they had AZEC. It's actually PVC board, and they use that for trim pieces. So the drops I took, and I just got some AZEC. They're like balusters. So it's a square baluster, and I just cut them, and I stainless steel screws. Screwed the boards to the balusters and then made my boxes with that. And then my blueberries were having a hard time. So I went out and got a bunch of 4x4 ground contact pressure treated wood.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I just built a 10-foot long bed for the grapefruits.
Uh-oh.
So
last year, oh, you're back.
I'm back.
But now I hear an echo. And the echo's gone too, I think.
Okay. What are we doing here?
Sorry.
That's all right.
We just bought my wife one of the raised beds, and it's like corrugated metal of some sort. I don't even know what it's, but it's not that big, but it's pretty cool. She really likes it. She loves having it, and that's the first year we're using that. We've used pallets a lot in the past. We lay down pallets and then lay down the cloth and then put the pallets down. And that's enough soil in there for tomatoes and peppers and squash and all kinds of stuff in between there. But there's no weeding.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about weeding.
Secret with tomatoes, plant them deep.
They did great. Those tomatoes did great just in the pallets. We go crazy with them.
They have that long stem planted halfway into the ground.
Yeah.
That stem will root. So now
Oh, from the
on the tomato plant. So if you plant that thing deep, the tomato plant deep, so you leave some of your the leaves above ground, that whole stem will root. And what you're doing is you're increasing its intake of moisture and nutrition from the
gotcha.
soil. So you get better tomatoes that way, and you get strong. You get a stronger stem.
I love going out there and just picking it. I take the salt shaker out. Well, first of all, only Oscars. Thanks so much. She said, it's a $9.99 super chat. I really appreciate that. It's so hot outside and it's not even summer yet. And I'm not sure where June lives. Is she somewhere around you? Do you know? I know Dee Dee is. I know Ricky, who's not around much these days. Ricky was. I know KG Tropicals is now in your area.
Yeah, he's north of Greenville, or just outside of Greenville. So that's about 45-minute hour north of me.
Gotcha. I like to take a salt shaker outside and just grab the tomato, a little salt. That's
when I was the tomatoes really made it in the house.
Yeah.
Because I had the salt. I bring the salt shaker out with me. I'm picking tomatoes. I'm just eating. She says,
it's so good.
Bringing me any tomatoes? And yeah, you'll get some.
Those are so good. I absolutely love them. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about. I mean, I know you worked at UPS, but I was not aware of you being a chef. So let's start at the beginning, though. Let's go way, way back. So living in New Jersey. Yeah. What was the very first job you had? Were you a kid? Did you have a paper route? Did you?
Well, I had a paper route, but I had a paper route. But the first real job I worked in a deli.
In a deli.
I was illegal. I was 14 and a half, 15.
Yeah.
It was again back then. So this is like the early 70s. I grew up.
We lost you again. It's like there's something there that either your hand hits or your leg, or because right now you're muted. So we can't. It's even mute. I think it's those headphones still. I don't think they like you much. Can't hear. Yeah. Oh, you turned them off. Says your mic isn't even connected. Bear with us, people. We'll be back in just a minute. Okay. I wish I could understand what you're saying. I think you called me some names, though. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. We'll get this fixed in just a second. Never grown up strawberries. Oh, yeah. Only Oscars. Yes. Love having the strawberries, too. Although our strawberry bed, we let go last couple of years. We just don't get... we don't get anything from that at all anymore. There are some wild strawberries in the area, but that's it. A lot of times we go hiking, we can find all kinds of berries, wild strawberries and blueberries and raspberries, blackberries, just all kinds of different stuff. And Eduardo said, Paul and I are literally neighbors. We live minutes from each other. Yeah, it's still got you guys muted. Okay. Eric Wyrock, what's going on? Hello, Michelle E. and Mikey Mike, and why are we always yelling? Craig Doniger, what's going on? Craig, were you the one? No, it's Craig Broderick. Craig Broderick, right? One of the Craigs had a birthday recently that we missed, and we need to get people on the calendar. If people don't mind being on the calendar. Fishfam.link has a great calendar that shows upcoming birthdays and stuff. Oh, Eduardo said in Jersey, you guys used to live together. You guys used to live together live by each other in Jersey. That's right. And you guys went to the same fish store, I believe, even, right, Eduardo? You didn't know it, but you both went to the same fish store or something when you both lived there, and you didn't realize it. Sandy Dowdy, hello. Whips World, what's up, man? Craig, it's the other Craig. Okay. Geek Boy says, not going to chat, not in the mood today. I'm sorry to hear that, Geek Boy. Send me a message if you want to talk. Johnny, what's going on? I haven't been able to buy any plants this year due to moving. Closing in the new house on Thursday, though. Can't wait to get stuff growing. And you're up there now, right? Let's see. Who else did I? We can say some more highs as people are coming in and working through it. June's in California. Medcow says, I worked in Rock Hill, South Carolina for 2 weeks. Seemed like a nice place. I don't know that I've ever been. I must have been in the Carolinas, but I don't remember it. I was a kid. My dad drove for Coachman, and I'd go with him on the trips in the RVs. And here, I'm going to, nope. I would go with him on the trips. And I know we went to Florida quite a few times. Hey, Diego. I just saw Diego. Petsotics, what's going on? Haven't seen you in forever, Diego. Hope things are good. I know you've been crazy busy, but it's good to see you. And Dee Dee. Hi, Dee Deekins. Let's see. I need a dab. Hello. Let's see. There's Jason. And we have a couple birthdays tomorrow. The 25th, we have both Jenny Lynn, who I had the pleasure of meeting her and her husband Bruiser last year at the Keystone Clash. They will be at the Triple Crown this year. Jenny's birthday is tomorrow. And Jason Degenerate, or Depths Unknown, as his new name is. He's slowly moved over to that. Depths Unknown is Jason. And his birthday is tomorrow. I believe he is 72 tomorrow. And then we got Skipper coming up very close too. Okay, hold on a second here. I'm going to take this one off. Let's do this one.
Hold on.
I'm going to mute you and then add you, and then let me know when you got it ready. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready, and I'll take you off mute because I don't want to. What's up, Mark? What's happening? Jenna P. cooking dinner. His name means guardian of the fish. And I said that. It's actually a watcher of the fish. All right. I'm going to take you off mute and see how it sounds. Check, 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 check one, check, check, check. Still getting some feedback. Let me take this other one. There we go. Okay. Now let's try it.
I shut down my desktop. For some reason, it's not enjoying working with StreamYard.
There we go. And that sounds good. That sounds even better, actually. Okay. We started to talk about where you, different jobs you had and stuff. So you talked about working in the deli, but you were illegal, you were underage, not quite 15. That's where you left off.
Yeah. Because basically I can tell all my jobs during high school were always between seasons. So I played football and I ran track. So I worked in the deli in the summer and then in the winter. So fall and spring, I was busy.
Gotcha.
So that's where I started. And then when I was in college, I worked in restaurants because that's how I helped pay. That's how I paid for school.
But you went to school first for what was it again?
I was a biology major.
Biology. So what made you? I mean, were you always interested in that kind of stuff, or what made you think about biology?
I was it was something that really interested me in high school. I mean, I was if I'm not interested in something, it goes in one ear out the other. But sciences were always like my thing. So I went to a state school, and I was a bio major there. But they were going. Now, again, this was the mid 70s, and a lot of crap was going on. So they were trying to go for university status. So at the time, to get university status, they had to start changing what was required in certain majors. And so classes that I had taken were no longer applicable to my major. And it got to the point where I was just saying, you know what? I've been working in restaurants. I really like doing it. And I met a graduate from the Culinary Institute, an alumnus, and we started talking. He says, "Well, why don't you go up there for an interview?" I went up there for an interview. I talked to him, and so what would have been let's see, my junior year in college, I went to Culinary Institute.
Gotcha. And so then you worked in restaurants after graduating there for a while. And what kind of stuff did you specialize in? Was Italian or what?
Well, let's see. So I started out working in Bloomingdale's at Latron Blue. That was my first job after graduation. But I did work at West Point. We did, because we have to do an internship between our first and second years. So I worked at West Point, and I learned a hell of a lot of things and how not to do things there. Yeah. And then so graduated. I worked at Latron Blue, and then I started working in a restaurant, in hotels. I did a tour in a hotel, and then I went back into the city. I worked at the Russian Tea Room.
Wow.
And where else was I? I was at the Cafe des Artistes, and then the Ginger Man. And then I got into, at that point, I was actually running back of the house. And I wasn't cooking per se. I was actually doing back of the house management. So I was doing the purchasing. And so I learned a lot about wine, produce. I would go into the markets and buy the food. At the Russian Tea Room, I had butchers that would cut meat just for us. They would hang the meat. We have the dry aged steak. So I had a inventory of dry aged steak in some of these meat houses. Caviar. I learned how to judge caviar. So wine.
You're not going to the Keystone Clash, right? You're only going to the Triple Crown.
No, just the Triple Crown. Right. I've got my mother down here now. She's 93, so it's kind of like I've got to keep my traveling not to a minimum, but I can't just take off and go.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. It's just that you were talking about all this food, and I was thinking, well, let's get him set up so he can cook for us at the Keystone Clash. That's what I was thinking.
Well,
I was being,
we used to have parties at our old house between Christmas and New Year's. It would be a weekend in between. We would have a holiday party. I cooked for 150 people. I had no food left in the house. I cooked turkeys. I cooked steak. I cooked. There was nothing left. And they were still coming in. And this was not a big house. This was a Center Hall Colonial, 1,800 square feet. The whole front of the house was a covered porch. Okay, so this is the middle of December. I got people hanging out on my front porch. They're sitting on the stairs going up to the second floor. Every piece of furniture that I have, somebody's in it, and they're on the floor. And this is all at once, and I'm trying to cook for these people because I cook, but friends told friends. So I had people just showing up that I barely had any idea who they were.
Jesus.
So, yeah.
I mean, at some point, you got to say, hey, I'm not cooking for you.
Listen, I said there's no beer left.
See ya. Yeah, everybody leaving. Leaving.
And then they would go until like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
How many years did you do the cooking for a living? Or I should not just say just cooking, but working in restaurants. How many years total was that?
Well, if you count when I was in school, in college, 10, 12 years.
Gotcha. Did you just have enough? Did you just decide it wasn't for you, or money wasn't what you wanted? Or
the hours. Listen, a short week for me used to be 60 hours.
Yeah.
So that's 12-hour days. I didn't get paid a lot. My benefits stunk. I mean, I barely had. They had benefits, but they didn't cover much. And when Nancy and I decided to get married, when we got married, it got to the point where I was moving up my job, I would go to the next level when I moved to a new restaurant, because most restaurants are mom and pops. So it's not corporate by any sense
Yeah.
of the word.
Yeah.
So if you want to move up, you got to move out.
Yeah.
So I was working in places for about a year and a half. But when we got married, we decided, we want to buy a house and all the other married things you want to do. And with that kind of work record, I wasn't going to get any traction with the bank. Even though I was constantly employed and I'm moving up, they like to see
Stability.
stability. So
Yeah.
my sister was dating a guy, customer service rep from UPS. And we were talking. I think it was like, one of the family get-togethers, and we were talking. He says, "Well, look, why don't you come work at UPS?" I said, "All right, I'll give it a shot." Benefits, retirement. I'm home on weekends. Because in the restaurants, when everybody else is home, I'm
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
So nights, weekends, you're getting phone calls. Hey, we ran out of this. We got to go get it. So it's. I said, okay.
That was very Jersey right there. The way you just said that, just the whole, you definitely haven't lost your accent, your Jersey accent at all.
In fact, I don't consider I don't have a strong Jersey accent. I mean, I know I do. It's not strong, because how would you say BATHROOM?
Bathroom.
No.
Bathroom.
If you're in Jersey City, it's a bathroom.
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 But my grandpa sounded like that, and he lived in Chicago almost his entire life.
Yeah, it might be just a city thing. But
Italian though too. Italian.
Yeah. Well, but so there. I find that it comes out when I start talking fast. My sister-in-law is from California, and when my brother and I are on the phone, she says, "You've been talking to your brother again, haven't you?" Why? She says, because the Jersey's coming out.
The Jersey's coming out. It's seeping out of the pores.
It just seeps out. You can't get rid of it. You can take the boy out of Jersey, but you can't take the Jersey out of the boy.
So UPS, I interrupted you again and threw you on a curve there, but UPS just sounded like it had that stability that you needed, and the pay was probably at the beginning wasn't as good, but it probably had more potential.
Yeah, it was on a par what I was making.
Gotcha.
I mean, at the restaurants, but again, I wasn't working the stupid hours. Granted, it's not a 9 to 5 job. I started at 8:30 in the morning and would roll in about 7 o'clock at night, but I can accept that. I'm home on the weekends.
Yeah.
So, but long story short, I mean, I did my 25 years, so I was able to walk away from there with a full full benefits, medical and my pension and whatnot, 401k at 56 years old. I retired at 56.
Yeah.
I mean, from UPS, I didn't retire from working, because once we came down here, once we got the house built, I started working again. I worked at a production nursery. Not far from here.
Oh, nice.
And I basically ended up running it for the owner. So, but then COVID hit, and I just said, I've had enough. I'm not, it got to the point where it was getting a little crazy down here so I just said, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah. But that was more like a fun, even though it was still work and you still had a lot of responsibilities, that was something that you really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. That's, I learned a lot working there. Because one of the other things I do here is I live in a development community, which is something that is completely out of ballpark living in New Jersey. There's no such thing as homeowners associations unless you live in a condominium.
Yeah.
So I'm in an association. So a lot of the work down here is done by volunteers. So I run the landscape committee here, and so I have a $500,000 landscape contract that I'm responsible for.
Okay.
So
so you're still not retired?
Well, no, I'm not. It's like I said, I volunteer for too much crap. So working in the nursery allowed me, one, to keep the landscapers that do the companies that do the work here honest, because I know what everything costs.
Yeah.
I know the wholesale prices of stuff.
Yeah.
I know what irrigation lines cost, because I have to order them for the nursery. So I know it. So it helps me working with these contractors, that they know that they're not
Yeah.
pulling any wool over
Keeping them,
anybody's eyes.
keeping them honest. Keeping
Yeah.
them honest. Yeah.
Well, now the company I work for, they've been in business since 1913. It's a family-owned business.
Wow.
So I'm working for the fourth owner in the family of the business. So he had a customer call him up, a landscaper, saying, I got to bring back all these plants. The customer doesn't like them. And so my boss says, why doesn't he like it? He just doesn't like them. I want to bring them back. He says, well, I can't just take them back because he doesn't like them. There's a lot of plant material there. He says, well, you don't understand. This guy's from Jersey. He says, wait a minute. I'll give you my guy from Jersey, and he'll tell your guy from Jersey where to go. So,
he's got a Jersey guy in his pocket too.
Yeah. So he says, I got some
Jersey. I'm from Jersey.
Yeah. So so he was. Yeah. It's so I enjoyed doing it, but again, between the COVID and the amount of time I was putting in, I said I didn't retire to go back to work full time.
Yeah.
So like COVID, I gave it up after COVID, and then I tried it again at a smaller place here, and I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
So now, what do you fill your days with?
Well,
I know they're always filled.
Yeah. So I'm a master gardener down here. So right now we do a thing called house calls. So we go to people's homes, because everybody's from someplace else here. It's not like you have people that have been working in this area in gardening down here their whole lives. They're from someplace else. And
Arizona.
Like
Arizona's the same way.
It's it's not the same here. You can't do, or in a lot of cases, there's things you can't grow here that we grew up north because it's too damn hot. So we do house calls. And what I'm doing is I take a group of master gardeners, and we go to people's homes. They schedule appointments with us, and we go through their yards. We take pictures, take notes, and then we put together an action plan for them, and we send it back to them. So I do that. I teach down here. I teach gardening classes. I even teach the master gardener class.
Oh, nice.
I teach 4 modules of the master gardener class. So and like I said, I have I play bocce. I don't golf. Golf is like watching paint dry. Bocce, you can sit there, you yap all the time, and and then I have my day drinking. We have our men's association, because my friends, we have a group of friends, the wives all play mahjong. So on the mahjong days, the boys go out, we find a new brewery.
Yeah.
So that's what we do.
Nice. That sounds like a good life.
And then there's the fish, and then there's that too.
And we didn't really talk about relationships too much. Nancy, how long have you guys been married?
1988. We got married.
Okay. Yep.
So we have no kids.
Okay, I was going to ask that too. Never had kids. No kids. Okay.
I do have a kid. He's a 135-pound dog.
Yeah.
Like I said, we moved my mother down here last September. She's 93. So we bought her a townhouse. She's still living on her own.
Good for her.
So she needs help now, but my brother's getting ready to retire, and she'd be up there by herself. She keeps saying, well, what about my aunt? And it says, Ma, they're in their 80s. They can barely take care. They're having issues too. It's not like you were, when you're 40, 50 years old, you guys used to run all over the place. Can't do it anymore. So, and what really put the kibosh on her, made the move down here in Edible, I told you I lost my sister a few years ago.
Yeah.
So they used to live in the same building in Weehawken, and it's a pre-war building. So my sister used to, take care of her. But when my sister passed, my brother and I, I'm retired already. My brother's getting ready to retire. We knew she couldn't stay up there by herself, so we found her a townhouse about five minutes down in the same development. It's 5 minutes from me, so I go over there a couple of times a day. I'll make sure she's eating, taking care of herself, whatnot. So.
Gotcha. But she still can. She still has her independance.
Oh yeah. That was the whole thing. It's that's what I threaten her with. If she doesn't eat, I said, Mom, I'm going to put you in assisted living. You don't eat your dinner. So she gives me a dirty look, and she goes, where did you get that from? I says, Ma, I learned from the best. Who was that? You. So,
what's Mom's name?
Rose.
Rose. Hey, okay. I was going to say that's the same as my grandma, but it was Ruby. It was Ruby.
Yeah, was my grandma. She was born in Italy. She came over here when she was 4.
My that was the Italian side, and my grandma Ruby was Italian as well, but she was born here. Her parents were from Italy. I don't remember where. Same with my grandpa; they were from Italy as well. So they were both born here. They were first generation here.
Yeah. So I'm first. I mean, I know my family in Italy. I've been there 5.
Yeah, I don't know any of them. Of course, I don't really know much of my family here by choice.
Yeah.
The ones that I haven't even talked to my brother in 10 years. So, so you already sort of went over hobbies. Did you anything else besides the day drinking and the gardening and taking care of Mom? Those are your main hobbies. Do you like a good book once in a while, or?
Yeah. Most of what I read, I actually read magazines more than books.
Gotcha.
And
just the articles.
It's either gardening or fish. Okay. I have like 3 subscriptions to gardening magazines, and then the tropical fish mags. I'm doing Amazonas, practical fish keeping from England, and what is that? Aquarium Hobbyist, I believe it is, the TFH one.
Oh, just Tropical Fish Hobbyist, I think is just yeah.
I that's my reading.
What's your favorite of those 3? Do you have a favorite?
Amazonas.
Same here. I haven't tried the one from England, but I did have the other 2.
The other one, the other 2 are 50-50 salt and fresh, and I don't keep salt.
Yeah.
So the Amazonas is it's all fresh water, but I mean I read them all because they all have a different point of view. I like to get information from a bunch of different sources, and then I say, okay, what works best for me?
Yeah. What about the gardening one? What's your favorite gardening magazine?
My best, the one I like is Fine Gardening.
Okay.
It's there's horticulture. There's a couple other ones I get from they come, but Fine Gardening is by far the best. They get into they get well, no pun intended, but they get into the weeds.
Gotcha.
In gardening. So and I really enjoy that's how I learn. I mean, I come across as I have answers for things, but I learn by reading. I'm always looking to learn things, and that's why I get information from multiple sources, because this is why if I hear it from one person, I'm going to find out if somebody else is saying the same thing. Yeah. So and keeps the brain going.
Sure. What about like home and garden TV and stuff like that? Do you watch any of those kind of things? Not really. No, I remember a long time ago, like
it's basically
reality television or something.
Yeah, it's basically reality television on houses, and they really don't do much in the way of gardening. I watch a lot of YouTube gardening videos.
Gotcha.
If you're interested, there's I actually watch Gardener's World out of England, which is like an hour program. You couldn't do an hour gardening program here, and they've been doing it for 30, 40 years. It's an hour, and for I guess about 8 months out of the year, they have a gardening show on for an hour every week. And then I watch I watch the YouTube videos on them. There's a bunch of channels for gardening that I watch. There's one guy that works out of Raleigh. It's called HortTube. And then I also do J.C. Ralston Arboretum out of Raleigh.
What's it called?
HortTube, HortTub. HortTube.
Just it's too close to something else.
Yeah,
I wonder, did he do that on purpose? Did he want to be a little risque, or you know what I mean?
I have no idea.
HortTube.
HortTube. So, but
what are you doing? I'm watching HortTube.
That's it. So yeah, so that's where I get, so I watch those. That's and I don't want to tell you the freaking libraries. I got 2 bookcases. One is all full of gardening books, and the other one is I have one of those barrister bookcases. One whole section of the barrister bookcase is full of aquarium books.
Gotcha.
So I mean, I have stuff from when I was a kid.
See, I wish I did because I had a lot of books and stuff. I had a lot of the the smaller Reader's Digest size tropical fish hobbyist magazine. I love when that came in. I had a lot of those, and I used to go to the library all the time and pick up books, but I didn't have any of my own, and I never kept any of that stuff. Anyways, I've moved so many times and started over so many times that I've lost everything numerous times.
Well, that's one of the reasons. My mom was a librarian, so when stuff used to come in, instead of me buying the book, she'd bring them home. Nice. So I have. Let me just show. This is the oldest one I got.
Hi, Zenny. Hi, everybody else that came in. Again, if you came in and said hi, we didn't say anything. That's by design. That's what we do. But we are going to open up pretty soon to questions from the chat. So if you have questions for Paul, keep those in mind, and they'll be coming up soon. We'll open up. All right. What do you got for the oldest? Exotic. Who is that? Who wrote that?
This is the Innis book. Its first copyright was 1935. Right? 38. Now, this was published by Metaframe. That was my first fish tank. That's one of the ones with the chrome edges and the slate bottoms.
Yep.
Do you know who Metaframe was owned by?
No idea.
Mattel.
Really?
Oh yeah, you could get you could drown your Barbie in one of their. But yeah, so the
I did not know that.
The first copyright on this was 1938. I mean, this isn't what I have. I think my issue was from 60.
Yeah.
66 was the copyright on this book.
And how accurate do you find it today? I mean, is there still some nuggets in those things, or there's?
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff in here that doesn't change. I mean, some things don't change, but when I first started, my first fish tank was a goldfish bowl. We went to the carnival at St. Michael's.
Yeah.
And threw nickels into the. So I brought home a goldfish. So I had a 5-gallon goldfish bowl. That was my first aquarium. But when I started, you were supposed to empty the tank out every week, 10 days, 2 weeks,
and wash
everything down. So here I am, like 10 years old. I'm humping around this 10-gallon tank with a slate bottom because if I had it, I had to take care of it myself. So I had to take it down off the stand. I had to empty the water, take it out, take all the fish out, go in the backyard, dump the water because I couldn't dump the water in the sink because it stunk. And then I had to go back. We'd clean out all the gravel, put the gravel back in, fresh water out of the tap, and then take the fish and dump it back in. That's how I started. And it was
me too.
It was a little. It was a box filter. Though my first one had a box filter. So the charcoal on the bottom,
big chunky charcoal. Was pretty chunky.
Fiberglass. It wasn't fill. It was fiberglass.
Yeah, I don't.
And then you had a heater that screwed. That they weren't submersible. The guts were the working part of it were sitting on top of the edge of the tank.
Yep.
You had Yeah, with a little screw,
Yep.
and then no lids. You had a light, with the the long tubular lights that were in your mother's china closet. Well, those were
Yeah.
the hoods. And every time a damn catfish would go up and take a glob of water, he'd splash the light and break it. So that's how I started.
That's my time too. That's my era too. When I first started, I had them until I don't know. It wasn't that long, 4 or 5 years, something like that. And then I got totally when I was like 14 or so. I just got totally out of fish keeping and didn't get back into it until not quite 2 years ago. June will be 2 years for me.
Yeah. And then I did it through college. Then I kind of got away from it. So for about 10 years, especially when I was working in the restaurants, I had no time for anything. And once we bought our house, I put 1,000-gallon goldfish pond in the backyard.
Nice.
So, well, that was my thing because it's part of my gardening. I had the fish so I had lotuses and water lilies and all sorts of stuff growing in there. So that was my fish keeping for most of my working life because it was easy. I didn't have to do much. The goldfish, basically, I fed them. They took care of themselves. They made babies. They did their whole thing. If a heron came in and grabbed the goldfish, there was plenty more behind them.
Yeah.
So it was an easy way for me to keep fish. One of the reasons I got back into fish when I came down here is that the community I live in is full of canals. You name the bird that eats fish, we got them. So I was not putting in another goldfish pond because it's like, again, pardon the pun, it's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah, you'd have to cover it with all kinds of stuff and netting and grids and stuff, and
So when we built the house, when we were working with the designer, I said, look, I want to put a big fish tank in. I want an aquarium in the wall. So I'm sitting in my office right now. My discus tank is here. You can see the corner of it. Here, I'll show you. There they are. They're waiting for me to feed them. They're all lined up. So and that goes through the wall, and it's visible in the living room. So that's how I got back into fish. So that's 120 gallons. And then right after that, once we moved in, the fish tank started. And then we have what's called frogs down here because there's no basements. So it's a finished room over the garage. So I call it the fish room over the garage. So I have all my tanks are up.
Gotcha.
The majority of them are up there.
Yeah. So you keep all your cichlids with the heavily planted tanks.
Well, that's discus. I mean, I have in that tank there. I have 3 types of cichlids. I have the discus. I have angelfish, and then I have a dwarf cara. It's a dwarf purple bellied cara. So there's 3 cichlid species in there. They don't touch the plants.
Yeah.
I have a setup like yours with cribs. They don't touch the plant. Yeah. And my pistos are the same way. They don't bother the plants. They actually like the cover. Like the dwarf cara that I have in here, they breed like rabbits because they have all these little nooks and crannies and places in the plants that they can go hang out in. It's like their home. So there are some cichlids that I wouldn't even put a plastic plant in with them because they tear.
Yeah.
But the fish I tend to keep, they do very well in planted tanks. They actually do better in planted tanks than if it was like a typical cichlid layout.
That's all I have is the cribs. That's my only cichlid. It's just the cribs. So
and in that tank, I've got the cribs. I've got denison barbs. I've got ruby barbs. I've got
that's the same thing.
Black ruby. Black ruby tetra barbs. I've got
that's almost identical.
Brilliant rasboras.
So cribs, denison barbs, and black rubies are all in that tank right there.
And then I have the ruby barbs in there, and then I have brilliant rasboras, and then I got a bunch of Corys in there. So, like I said, I don't have these crazy aggressive fish that want to tear everything up.
Yeah.
It's not enjoyable for me
Same
if I
here.
got to sit there and I got to constantly clean up your mess.
Yeah.
And I don't breed, but I have fry in all my tanks.
If they breed, that's
They just do it. I mean, this discus tank, if there's one Cory in there, there's 50, and they just breed. I don't pull eggs. I don't do it. They just breed.
Love that. Love that.
So
I'm all about that community tank. It's just like with people. I love people that play nice with other people. I
Yeah.
love communities that people can really work together and overlook each other's foibles. And we all have things. Every one of us, nobody's perfect. We all do stupid shit. We all do things. And I just love a community that can pull together and overlook those types of things. Same with my tanks here. I just love different types that work together. I love seeing that diversity and stuff that works together.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And like I said, with this tank here, this is the only tank when I got started that I knew what I wanted in it. I had discus when I was first started, when I was a kid. I had them in a 20-gallon tank. God knows what I was thinking, but I had a pair of discus in there and they bred. In a 20-gallon community tank, they bred. These are wild caught discus. There was no such thing as captive bred discus at the time. And I knew going into this, when I was going back in the hobby, I said, I want to go back to discus. It took me 2 years to put discus in that tank.
Why?
Not because I couldn't.
Yeah.
I follow the same. I know what they need. They need a seasoned tank.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's not like throwing guppies in there. Guppies will just like leave. The guppies are guppies.
Yeah.
Discus do better in a seasoned tank. Like Corey said, you get a seasoned tank, you're going to be able to put a lot of different fish in there because it's gone through everything. So when I started, I had swordtails in there, and I had platies, and I had some tetras.
Yeah. Worked your way up to them.
I worked basically. I got the guts of the tank, or the bio, whatever you want to call it, in that tank to a point where it's stable. There's no fluctuations anymore. It's my parameters. It doesn't matter when you look at them. Monday, if I do a test, they'll be the same on Friday. So, and that's
like Geek Boy. Geek Boy's got a bunch of tanks that have been up for 10, 12, 13 years. That's the way it's been. So heavily seasoned tank.
Yeah. And the other reason is that when you're dropping, my cheapest discus in there is like $80. You're dropping $80 on a fish, and there's 12 of them in there. You want to make sure that there's, you're not.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've killed my share of discus in this tank because I was buying at one point before I found the guy I get my discus from now. I was buying from Petco because there's nothing here. The one thing it's when you go east of 95 in North Carolina, there's not a lot of choices on anything. There's stuff, but I mean, you got to go far and wide looking for things. And basically here, up until very recently, we didn't have an LFS that dealt strictly with freshwater fish.
Gotcha.
Most of them were like saltwater that dabbled, and they had a couple of species of freshwater fish. So, I went into a Petco and I found these discus in there, and they're like this big, and I'm like, give me them. And but the thing was they wanted. I would chew them down on their price because they're talking about 2.5-inch fish that they wanted $99 for. You're crazy. But I found a guy down in Myrtle Beach. And that's all the fish. That's all the discus I have in here now are all from him. And
Gotcha.
it's like I said, buy quality, pay for it, and you get you're going to have less issues disease wise, because I'm going to tell you something. Those Petco fish, man, they were always getting sick. You know, they were getting they were wasting away. You could see it. The discus, even though they're laterally compressed, they still have some width to them. And when you start seeing the outlines of their skull, because they get these parasites.
Yeah.
And it was, I was constantly treating discus for diseases, and it almost got to the point where I was going to give up on them. And then I found the guy down, I started doing, I found YouTube. That was one, because before that, I didn't know YouTube for anything, as far as it was just like people throwing up some screwy videos.
Yeah.
So I found it, and that was during COVID, because I was home. Now I had some time. And I started watching YouTube videos, and then I think the first one, it was either Corey or Primetime that I ran into, and I said,
so many people.
And then I started doing aquabid. I don't buy fish from, I haven't bought fish from a store in 3-4 years. Everything.
It's always, yeah. No, any online stores. It's all direct from people. All direct from breeders.
No, I'm doing online. I don't,
No, but I mean, no online stores. They're direct from the breeders and stuff. People who don't really have a store so much, but just have just sell online.
I started with aquabid, and then I started because I'm the kind, like, I want to see what I'm buying. I want to see the fish. Well, I started dipping my toe in the water just to try it. So I tried first with aquabid, because basically aquabid is mostly hobbyists selling fish. Then my tastes got a little more exotic in fish, and then I found Jason at Redfish Bluefish.
Yep.
And he does the Epistos.
Yeah.
And then I bought from Dan, and then I got my peacock gudgeons from Dan. And I found I did some homework with the discus, and I found Myrtle Beach discus. And I actually, if I feel like taking a ride, I'll go down there and pick my own fish out, because he's an hour south of me. So my wife and I will hop in a car. We'll throw the dog in, because the guy that owns Myrtle Beach discus likes my dog. So and then we'll do some shopping down at Myrtle Beach, and then come back up.
Yeah. Those are some good ones. Dan, Jason, both of those are. I mean, if you had to buy online, you can't go wrong there.
No, Aquatic.
There's a lot of others too, but those are.
Yeah, I mean, I bought from Flip, Aquatic. Yeah. Whatchamacallit out there.
What state is he in?
Yeah, so I found a bunch of people that I trust. They supply me with high quality fish.
Yeah.
And so that's where I go. Because again, my water's not conducive to stuff like guppies. It's too acidic. I put live bearers in this water, and they're toast within a couple of weeks. They just,
gotcha.
I try with the cribs. I've upped my pH a little bit by throwing limestone in there in the tank, in the rock work. So that keeps me, the discus tank is sitting around 6.2. I can get my crib tank up to 6.8, 7, which is better for the cribs.
Yeah, sure.
So it's just this water's too acidic here, and
mine's high 8.
It's soft, but it's hard as well. It's soft it's got almost no carbonate hardness, but it's full of iron. It's full. So the plants love it, because it's.
Yeah, I was gonna say plants probably go crazy in it.
So, but it's got a lot of iron. I think when I do my the general hardness, when I do the strips, I'm over 150 on general hardness. But KH is down at 40, and that's only reason that is because I either have I do aragonite in the canister filter. I have a couple of bags of aragonite in the canister filter, or I'm putting limestone in the rockwork.
Yeah, we've got incredibly hard high pH. It's well water from upstate New York. So
if with rock, but it's there.
It's so like we have a a bucket in the shower, right? When you turn the shower on and get the temperature just right, because we don't have one of those instant hot water ones yet. We just have a regular old water heater. You're waiting for the water to get the right temperature, especially in the winter, right? So we've got a little 2.5 gallon bucket in there. It fills up. We use that for whatever, flushing the toilet, doing plants, whatever, because it goes to waste.
It's just going down the drain anyway.
But every time I pick it up, I've got to use something to get the orangish brownish stain off of the porcelain tub every single time.
Yeah,
because it just sits in a little bit there. And yeah, Keith knows. I just looked over in the chat. Keith's here, and he said upstate New York is brick. And Keith's not crazy far from me. He's not too far. And it's the well water's hardcore. All right, I want to open it up to the chat now and get you guys to ask questions and stuff and learn more about Paul. But before we do, Paul, is there anything we didn't touch on that you did in your life that was interesting that you think people should know about? Or
I don't know. I'm just, you got two old guys talking here, so I'm really surprised there's still people listening.
There's 61 right now. I see 61 watching, so that's a good amount. Do you have? I know you have some content on your channel. You have some gardening stuff, and you have a few videos. Are you thinking about doing more? Or are you not really that interested? You more?
Well, no, I'm actually working on one for discus.
Okay.
To me, they are probably one of the most misunderstood fish. They're not all that hard to keep. I mean, I don't do anything. The only thing that's different between that tank and the rest of my other tanks is temperature. That tank right now I'm keeping it at 86 degrees. In the winter, I keep it down at around 80, 83.
Gotcha.
But I also have ink birds on all my tanks.
Yes.
And what I do is I set up a temperature range. So the temperature is never always sitting at 86 all day. It fluctuates. I have on this one, I think I have a 3-degree fluctuation. It doesn't sound like a lot, but a 3-degree fluctuation could be the difference between a rainstorm and no rain.
Yeah.
And I do that on all my tanks.
Love the ink birds too.
I have a high and a low. So this tank, the high is set at 86 right now, and the low is set at 83. My other tanks they're set at 80 as a high and 77, 76 for a low.
I think 3 about as my standard too. And hey, there's Candy. Can't stay. Just want to say hi to Sir Rico and Paul. Much love. Thanks, Candy. Appreciate that $5 super chat. That's awesome.
Hi, Candy.
Always a pleasure. Mine are. Yeah, I think I have a 3-degree too, but mine are a lot cooler than that. Most of my tanks are in the 70s, except for the ones with the Bosemani's. But I have CPDs in with Bosemani's, so I sort of split the difference because
you got to keep it a little cooler.
So why don't we? Now's a good time. I do see Zen Gingers. That's where we're going to start off. So if you came in and said hi and we didn't say anything, that's by design.
That's why I didn't say hi.
And but now's the time. If you've got questions for Paul, make sure you do the @RicoStan so it pops out. I'm not looking. I'm going to be skipping all the other comments and just looking for those to ask Paul. We've got about 15 minutes, I think, or we might go over. We'll see.
However,
actually, I don't think. No. Hippie John and Wizzle are doing a stream. I think at 7:30 Eastern time. So I think they just started. So. But we'll go ahead. Let's start at the top here with Zen Ginger. Hi, Zenny. And the one that she always asks, last meal, prison rules. So anything that you want to eat, what would be your last meal?
Just don't call me late for dinner.
You don't care?
I don't care. I mean, like I said, there's only 2 things I really don't eat.
Yeah.
I'm very adventurous when I eat. So as long as it's good food, you're not giving me a can of dog food and say that my last meal, I'll be happy.
Sushi. Do you like sushi? Uh-oh, you froze.
You there? Yeah.
It looks like you're freezing.
I don't know. I'm back.
It's not moving. We hear you. There. I think it's coming back.
Yeah, I'm here.
Sushi. Yeah, you like sushi?
Here. Yeah, I eat sushi. Listen.
Love sushi.
I go to my wife and I used to go down the British Virgin Islands. That was our big getaway when because after peak season, I needed to get away from the ice and the cold. So I think 18 years, we went down to the British Virgin Islands. I would get tuna, fresh caught tuna. Give me it on the plate. I mean, it basically just had a little bit of a crust on it.
Yeah.
It was bloody red, and I'm having it. I mean, I eat my beef the same way.
That does sound
when I eat a steak, it moves.
Here's Mark Strilson. He's going to ask Myrtle's question. I don't know if you remember Myrtle's question, but Myrtle's been asking it, and Myrtle is doing his final exam. So best of luck to Myrtle. Otherwise, he would be here to ask it. But he has asked us at least 65 times out of the 68 interviews we've done. His question is, what would you change about me, and what would I change about you? And I'm going to actually venture a guess as to what you would change about me.
Listen, I
bet. Hold on. I bet you would make it so that I would accept advice more readily.
Rick, how old are you?
Old enough.
Okay.
We're close. I mean,
you made it
retired.
You made it this long in life doing what you're doing. If it works for you, keep doing it. I'm not. Listen, I'm. If I've got some knowledge, I tell people when I was working in the nursery, you ask me a question, I'm giving you my answer. It's your garden. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot. You ask me for an opinion. Granted, you didn't ask me for an opinion, but I had to jump in because I was going,
it works, man. What we do, it works. I'm telling you. But anyway,
but that's that's my thing. I said, look, I can offer you. It's like you could take a horse to water. You can't make him drink.
Exactly. I'm a very stubborn.
Listen, if it works for you,
yeah,
great.
And I always ask for advice when I want it. But see, I'm so lazy now that I don't even care anymore. So I don't even ask for advice. It's just whatever we're doing, it's fine.
If it works, listen. If it like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
So what's your answer then? So what would you change about me? And then I have one for you.
That you weren't getting sick all the time.
Yeah. That's nice.
I mean, granted, that is part of you. That's part of your life. But if there's something that I could change, going through what I went through with my sister.
Yeah.
Granted, it really gets me bent out of shape that people have to suffer, and I don't like that shit. You know, because it's what did you do to deserve it?
Oh, probably something. I was not always a good person.
I would just wish you better health. That's what I would do. I just wish you better health.
And let's see, what would I change about you? I wish your hair hadn't left you.
I got pictures of the family out there. It's like this. I mean, I knew going in my, I knew I lost most. I started going bald in my mid-20s. It's just in the family. It's just the way it is.
Because I got nothing else though, because I can't think of you. Because again, sometimes you can sort of tell that there's something in somebody's life that they would like to change, but you seem genuinely happy. You look like you found your place. You seem like you're good with where you're at. So
it's I'm going to just share this with you. My parents broke up when we were young, so my mother was a single parent. We did not have a lot of shit when we were growing up, and everything that I've gotten, I worked for hard. Nobody held up much hope for my brother, my sister, myself because of the situation. Got to remember, this is the early '60s, and we weren't we didn't have a conventional family. Granted, I grew up in an Italian family, so I had a big family, but we didn't have much. And, everything that I have here is because I worked hard for it. And I'm proud of the fact that my brother and before my sister passed, we worked our way up. My brother's a vice president of a large insurance company. My sister was an executive assistant to a CEO of a large company. We pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps and we did what we had to do. I mean, and we made something out of ourselves. That's why I'm happy. I mean, because I'm proud of what we did.
Gotcha. It jumped on me. Hold on, I gotta scroll back up. All right, and again, if you've got questions, do the @Rico stand so it pops out orange. I can really see it there. And Nano Aquarium guy says, "Are you a fan of Samurai Jack? If not, why is that your image logo thing?"
Oh, I love Samurai Jack.
Yeah,
That's and the image on my is Haku. That's the evil. That's like the devil.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched it too. Yeah,
Yeah. I really like Samurai. I used to watch it on Adult Swim all the time.
What's I forgot the guy's name now. He's like Russian or Polish
Gendy something is his
yeah.
Gendy, but yeah, he has a new one with a caveman. I forget the name of it.
You could definitely tell the style though. It's a very distinct style.
Yeah,
sort of very angular. But yeah, Samurai Jack is awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's cool too that you're a fan of Samurai Jack. Let's see, Killer Kitty. If you're stranded on a desert island, what 3 things would you take?
Well, I guess 2 of them are my wife and my dog.
Okay. Yeah.
The third one's a boat to get off it.
That's so fair. Something else. Pick something else. Multi-tool.
No. Well, it's going to be some good wine and a bottle opener.
Okay. I'm not.
Or rum. Actually, I'm a rum drinker. So yeah, give me some good rum.
There we go. We have that in common for sure. I do. It's unfortunate that I can't make it to the Triple Crown because I know bourbon's what we would have been drinking, but still, we probably would have sampled some rum.
I think somebody could twist my arm to sample.
Yeah. Alishon says my sister-in-law lives in Wilmington. Moved there from Southport after my brother passed. A couple blocks off Carolina Beach Road.
Yeah.
Is that close to you?
Oh yeah,
Carolina Beach Road.
Yeah. It's well, depending on what section. I can be on Carolina Beach Road in 10 minutes, 15 minutes with traffic. The one thing people down here complain about traffic, and I said, you have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea what traffic is. You know, they complain that they have a 20-minute, there's a 20-minute backup to go over the Cape Fear Bridge. I said, I lived 12 miles from my job when I was at UPS. There were days it would take me 20 minutes, and there were days it take me an hour and a half. For absolutely no freaking reason other than there's traffic.
Yeah. Rubbernecking or whatever it was. Yeah. Arizona traffic is pretty bad though too. It not so much anymore because it was growing so fast and they were so far behind in building freeways and everything. Nowadays, I guess it's way better. My mother-in-law said that I wouldn't even recognize a lot of the places because there's freeways where it used to be just desert, but it was so far behind. Okay. And again, I'm skipping over a lot. I see Jess came in and Lady Diane, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. Again, I know I missed a lot of people saying hi. Alishon would like to know what fish stores you frequented when you were in New Jersey. And I know you and Eduardo used to go to the same LFS, but you didn't know each other or anything at the time, right?
Okay. The one that I liked, the best one in that area is called Absolutely Fish. It's on in Clifton on Route 46, and they actually have their own saltwater breeding program. They have where they breed their own saltwater fish, but
like to see
the owner of it is a marine biologist, and I mean, you talk about doing things the right way. Everything is beautiful. Everything. I mean, it's the fish are quarantined. The fish get quarantined before they get put out on the sales floor. I mean, they're not just brought in and dumped into a tank and get ready to sell people. There's no cross contamination. The fish are all healthy. If there's an issue with the fish, they used to flag the tank. and do an observation. So yeah, that's in that area is the best place to go by. I mean, literally the best place. In fact, when they had the aquatic experience up there, a lot of people were going from the aquatic experience because it was right up Route 3 from where they from Sea Caucus,
Gotcha.
20-minute ride. And yeah, they attract people from all over the metropolitan area. It's just not that section in New Jersey.
I bet Alishon knows it. He probably knows the owner too, because he really does in that area. You know, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, all those areas. He knows so many of the people. He's been involved with the clubs for so long, and just I bet you he knows it and knows the people and everything.
They have a sale they do in the summer. They do a Midnight Madness sale. They actually shut down Route 46 because all the people trying to find parking. They have cops all over the place directing people. And this is basically in this section is all strip malls, so there's plenty of parking, and they still don't have enough parking for the people coming in.
Wow, I don't get around much, so I haven't heard of it. I don't think I've been to New Jersey in probably since I was a little kid.
Look them up. They also do a Facebook stream, probably once a week, and it's a live stream where they go through all the tanks.
What's the name again?
Absolutely Fish.
Okay, Absolutely Fish. Yep, got it. Okay, Zen Ginger has a double one for you. The first part.
I can't do doubles with Zenny.
The first part is, what's the most useless talent you have?
I can wiggle my ears.
Let's see it. Wait, I'm going to put you on the big screen. Oh yeah, I can see it. Hold on.
Yeah, I can wiggle my ears. It's genetic. All the guys in my family can wiggle their ears. I see. I can wiggle them. That's the most useless talent I have.
That is a good useless talent. That's a good one. And her second part is rose and thorn fishes. So best to keep and worst to keep. What's your favorite, your best fish that you like to keep, and the worst one that I don't like to keep, but what rose and thorn she called it.
Okay, discus are always going to be number one. I really enjoy keeping them. The fish that I had the worst time with, and this is when I first started keeping. It was a cichlid, and I didn't. Again, we're talking about the early. This is the '60s, and there's no internet then. I just liked the look of the fish. I put it in my community tank. It killed everything. It was a pair of them. Gotcha. That was my worst fish. Since then I think I would hope that I've got a little bit more knowledge. So I stay away from fish that don't work with what I have.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
But that was the worst fish I ever had. It just it killed my whole tank. And then on top of it, dummy me, I went and bought another pair.
They must have been beautiful fish.
Yeah. It was a cichlid. I'd never seen them before. They were gorgeous. So I said, okay. So I restocked my tank and bought another pair of them, and they killed them again. I
do go towards fish that I do like my water, that part that you mentioned. I never try to go to the stuff that likes the softer water. I just don't. Yeah. I mean, I get it. You can jump through some hoops and make it happen, but I'm a lazy guy. So.
Well, the thing is the hobby is to make it enjoyable.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to have to struggle with fish that can't. That's why I don't keep live bearers. They don't do well in my water.
Yeah, and they do great in mine.
And I won't buy fish from Florida either because they come from hard water. They don't do well in my water. I don't want to have to sit here and jump through hoops to keep them happy.
Yeah.
So I keep fish that like soft, acidic water. And, it's kind of like, keep it simple, stupid.
Yep, exactly. Is Paul... what is Mark Strilson is asking Brookley's question? I don't remember what Brookley's question entirely is. It says, is Paul double jointed, etc. I think it was something along the lines of the talent, though. I believe her question is, so the ear wiggling, I think, fits with that, if I'm right. Mark, right? Stephen, if you're still in here, I don't know. Bex, do you remember what Brookley's exactly was? I don't remember, but I think that the ear moving was right along those lines.
I mean, I'm flexible, but double jointed. No one has ever accused me of that. I am not I'm not a small guy. I have never been a small man. So my grandfather was an acrobat. I mean, that's but my grandfather was also 5'6" on a good day. I'm 6 foot and 250 pounds. So.
My grandparents are real little too. Well, no, my grandpa was pretty normal, I guess, but my grandma was 4'9". My mom is 4'11", and I'm 6 foot. So, yeah, my mom was only 4'11" though. She was little, but my grandma, the Italian one, she was 4'9", and she was like little, and she was such a go-getter. Oh my God, all the way. She used to come visit us. She'd drive up from Chicago, even into her early 90s. She was coming up here, and every morning she'd go out for her walk. Little Q-tip. Walking down the street, she had that white curly hair and just Lady Diane, hey there. The Kambamba has too much hair algae to send to you. I'm working on it. Is she said, oh, she's sending you Kambamba?
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff.
Kambamba.
Finally got rid of the BBA. Now it's covered in hair. Lights are out. Okay. And again, I'm just scrolling. I'm skipping a lot of stuff looking for the at Rico stand. And I got all the way down to Mickham, your dream fish or tank to get if there were no limits. And he says, but I can see he already loves his discus tank. So do you have your dream fish already, or is there something out there?
I would. There's a couple other fish I'd like to keep, and I would also like a bigger tank. Now, this is my discus tank is a 120, so it's 4x2x2, nice size tank. But I would really like to get, if I had the space for it. Or if I could convince my wife, it's more important. I'd probably like to go to a 240, get a 6 or an 8 foot tank.
Yeah.
And then move the discus into that. I like Severums. I would change that to a Severum tank.
Gotcha.
Again, I'm a sick. I really enjoy cichlids. They're incredibly for a fish. They're incredibly intelligent. You when I swung around the computer and I showed you the tank, they're still sitting here looking at me.
Yeah.
They know who their people are, and like I said, this is a two-side. So I have two front sides to this tank. So I walk from the living room into my office. They go from the living room side of the tank, and they're sitting here waiting for me on the office side of the tank, just so they could, and I'm no great shakes to look at, but obviously they otherwise.
They just want to interact with you.
But even the dwarf cichlids I have in there, they're very interactive, and it makes the hobby better. I enjoy it more. I keep rainbow fish, and I joke to Bentley all the time. I says, you have rainbow fish and a sack of rocks. Who's smarter? Sack of rocks. But I like rainbow fish, but I'm really attracted to cichlids just because of that intelligence. I mean, I have pseudomagills upstairs. I mean, they're gorgeous fish, but
yeah, mine all pretty much. I mean, the Boesmanis are all. When I walk over there, they all line up this way, and they look at me direct.
Yeah,
they all line up, and they're not swimming sideways. They're lined up just like this, looking at me every time.
Yeah,
and it's weird because they sort of have their spots. I do love the Boesmanis though; those are one of my favorites.
I enjoy community tanks, so I would just like a bigger one.
Yeah, I would like to when if I ever move my fish room into the basement, whenever one of the kids moves out, I will definitely be getting some bigger tanks. But
just drop a hint. Get the hell out! I want to put.
I don't want to leave.
I'm kidding.
I love having them here. So if they never leave, I'm okay with that. I'm not looking forward to the day when they're not here, because there's always stuff going on. Like I hear doors shutting and I hear people talking, and a lot of times I hear laughter, and I absolutely love it. I don't want them to be gone. It will be nice in some regards. It'd be nice to be able to do whatever. When Michelle and I we go out to dinner, just the two of us. I mean, we could do that now.
Yeah,
they're adults; they can take care of themselves. But I don't know. I just don't want them to leave. Regina, hi there, Regina. Any specific fish that you haven't had yet but are hoping to keep? Oh,
Huge.
Alexander.
Alexander. Hey, Alexander.
We always know when
Yep.
Mr. Englehart comes in. Thank you, Alexander. Again, appreciate that so much. Every single time I see that red, little pill show up there in the chat, and it's just gets me every time. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. The question was: is there any specific fish that you haven't had yet but are hoping to keep? That sort of goes with the last question a little bit.
It's probably Severums. When I was a kid, my buddy, my best friend, he had like a 55-gallon, I want to say, which was like huge considering I started with a little 10-gallon. I had a little 10-gallon tank.
Yeah.
So we had this get rich quick scheme. We're gonna breed Oscars. We're going to breed Oscars. So we had we had all these little Oscars, like these little 2-inch Oscars in this 55-gallon tank. We're going to grow them out and hopefully breed them. So we got it in our heads that we needed to feed them live food. So we used to throw zebra Daniels in there and watch them. Again, 10 years old, 10, 12 years old.
I had a friend who did that too.
But that again, in that time, that's what you were supposed to feed them.
Yeah.
That's what they told us.
Feeder goldfish. That's what my buddy's dad did that. I thought it was a 55-gallon tank, but you're right. It looked huge.
Yeah.
And it might have been a bigger tank, but yeah, this was the feeder goldfish.
I think, something like a Severum, or there's actually, it's a zebra acara. It's Ivanka Terra something. It is blue with blue stripes.
Oh.
It's kind of about the size of an electric blue acara, but it's blue with blue stripes. That I would like to do. And the other fish that I really want to keep, I like the trout goodeids. I like, that would be an unheated tank, and that would be the only one I would have to play with for pH, because they don't like it as acidic as I have. So I'd have to put a lot more limestone in the substrate. But I really like, that would be my attempt at live berries. A good goodeids.
Yeah. Those are on my short list. Achilles are goodeids. There's some others, but those. Oinky says, I love Absolute Fish. She lives in the Hudson Valley area. This place is awesome, and I love the area too. Unfortunately, do have traffic there.
Yeah.
Alishon said it's like entering a public aquarium. Magnificent aquascape tanks. It's pricey though. The owner's spoken on NJAS a couple of times. Kyle is now looking up that LFS since he's got family in the area. Bex said, "Hi, Bex. I knew the shop before they moved to Route 46." Alishon said.
Yeah.
I told you, Alishon, he's been around. Here we go. Nano Aquarium Guy says, what is Paul's favorite genre for movies and TV? We didn't really touch on any of that kind of stuff. Is there anything you like to watch on that?
Okay, so I kind of go. I'm very eclectic, but I'll tell you my favorite comic book guy is the Big Blue Boy Scout.
Captain America?
No, Superman.
Oh,
hey, listen, I grew up watching Reeves. That was our Saturday mornings.
Yeah. George Reeves too, not
Reeves,
Christopher. Yeah.
But I kind of like, I watch the Marvel movies. I watch DC, Game of Thrones, The Last Kingdom was a good show. I watched.
Haven't watched that yet.
Then I watch. There's a mini series called The Offer. It's how the producer of The Godfather had to jump through all the hoops to make the movie.
Oh, okay.
That's really interesting. One of my favorite shows was Justified. It was about a sheriff in Kentucky, modern day Kentucky,
great show.
Is
Bosch.
is it about a lot of the? Oh no, that's a different one. Never mind. Never mind.
And then The Boys is coming back on Amazon.
Yep.
I'm going to
Yep.
watch that. I have a very eclectic taste. I mean, then I'll turn around and watch documentaries. I mean, yeah.
Let's say
the
one
only thing
TV show. One TV show for the rest of your life. Which one would it be? So hard. What would that one TV show be? It's hard, isn't it?
It is. Because I watch so many. You know, it's. I don't know that there's one that I could sit there and say I could watch it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably going to be freaking 100, and you know that's a lot of time to watch the same reruns.
Yeah.
Over. You know,
I always answer that by going, well, The Simpsons has been going for what 37 years or whatever, so there's a lot of different shows to watch. You wouldn't see the same one over and over again. Even with the same show.
But
Gunsmoke was like 35 years. You know,
when I was in high school, I worked in a movie theater. Well, The Godfather came out when I was there. It was a single screen movie theater. There was no such thing as multiplex.
Yeah. Yep.
I could play, by the time the run of The Godfather was over in that theater, I could play everybody's part. Okay.
Well,
it's not that hard. I mean, you come by it sort of naturally there.
Well, no, but it's still, I mean, it was like any of the other movies that were, by the time that movie ran, I could say everybody's part. I mean, you know, it was just, The Godfather was there the longest.
Yeah. Interesting enough, we have in the little town that's closest to us, we have one of those single screen movie theaters. Now they've renovated a few times over the years, but they show, you know, one thing at a time, and it's there for a few weeks, and then they move on to the next thing. It's one, you know, it's cheap. I think it's $5 for the ticket or something like that. You know, Killer Kitty, speaking of accents, says can Paul say "get out of here" for the ending? I love his accent. So when we leave, that's what you got to say. When we're done here,
get out of here.
Get out of here.
How about forget about it?
Forget about it. Yeah. Where's Patty? That she could. Oh, there she is, right there. Who is misbehaving as I like to join them? She wants to she also can do. You know, I got to meet Patty at the class last year, and she's definitely right there with you with the accent. She definitely is. Zenny says, since we're all animal lovers, would Paul rather live with a barnyard of animals in his house or live in the barn with the animals?
I think I live in the barn with the animals now. You know, when you got a 130-pound dog, he goes wherever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
You know, when I growing up, now my grandparents would not let the dog up the stairs. So he lived in the basement. So he was not allowed up the stairs. So whenever we fed him, I had to bring the food down the stairs to feed him. So I complete 180. I mean, I have, I stick my hand in fish tanks and I'm, you know, I've got a big slob, you know, well, he's not that sloppy, but I got a big old dog. So it's, you know.
What kind is he again? Cane Corso? What?
Cane Corso, yes.
Yeah.
So he's an Italian Mastiff. And I didn't do it because he's an Italian breed. I had originally, when I was working, we didn't have a dog. We were never home. And it wasn't fair to the dog. So I told Nancy when I wanted to get a dog again. And I was going to get a boxer. But when I started doing research on the breed, they aren't the same dog I remember when I was a kid. If you name the disease, boxers get it. If you get a boxer that lives to be over 8 years old, you're lucky.
Yeah.
So I just said, you know, Nancy's never lived with a dog. I mean, I had dogs when we were dating, and when we got married, I couldn't bring my dog with us. They wouldn't let her in the apartment. So my mother kept her. So Nancy's been around dogs. My family all has dogs, but never lived with one. So I didn't want her first experience with a dog to be a short-lived dog, because you know how dogs are. They worm their way into your heart. And
yes, they do.
So I didn't. But I like Mastiffs. I'm not a little dog person. After 25 years of working at UPS, the dogs I trusted the least were the smallest.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They would, you know, quick story. I had a delivery And this is back in the day when we still had to get signatures for packages. We just didn't walk up to the front door and ring the bell and go back in the truck. We had to get signatures for it. And I knew I was delivering dog food. It was like a 50-pound box. So I go to the front door, ring the bell. Lady says, leave it. I says, ma'am, you know I can't leave it. I need a signature. So finally she comes out, and this little freaking dachshund pushes its way through the door. Now, this is summertime. I'm wearing shorts. Little bugger is jumping up and trying to bite my junk. Right? So finally,
you knew where the tender bits were.
Yeah. So I'm like, lady, control your dog. And she goes, oh, he won't bite you. I says, lady, control your dog. You don't want me to do it for you. Dog jumped up, got the bottom of my pants, my shorts. I said, that's it. I kicked it down the stairs. And I said, lady, I like dogs, but if this dog tries to bite me again, I'm stepping on its head. I'm not, I don't trust them. They're kind of, you could turn around and you're walking away and they come and try and bite you. A big dog, I could read like a book. I used to have a Rottweiler on my route, big, huge dog. Used to come busting through the door to its house with a ball in its mouth so he could play with it.
Yeah.
I
see. I'm not like that though. I don't think there's any bad dogs. I just think
no,
there's bad
I don't.
owners.
It's just that I think it's bad owners.
But I get what you're saying. It's usually the smaller dogs that are. I mean, we have a Chihuahua Papillon mix. She's little. She does bark more than the other two. We have 2 pugs as well, and they're just like with the boxers. The diseases, and I would never ever buy a pug from a breeder. They were both rescues. I don't want to continue. I mean, we talked about this before. I don't want to keep them. I think people should stop breeding those dogs that they've had so many health issues because of breeding it for specific traits.
There's dogs that should not be bred. I mean, you look at bulldogs. They can't even deliver naturally. Everything's a C-section on a bulldog. The English bulldog.
Yeah. You just we've gone too far with some of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Whip says, if the good spirits manifested themselves before you and offered you your dream job, something you love so much you don't consider work, what job did they just offer? It sounds like you've already been there with. So what he's saying is, what's the job that
the job that I do that doesn't feel like work for me is when I'm working with in the garden industry, the horticulture. Yeah. It comes naturally to me. I enjoy it. I mean, working with the fish, I don't find that as work, but I don't know that I would find myself in a situation where I would be in a fish store per se. But if I wanted to right now, I can go out and start my own business, just consulting. I mean, I just enjoy it. And there's people here that willing, because that's what I used to do when I worked at the nursery. People would come there looking for me specifically to walk them through, because it was a 40-acre nursery. So, and I would walk them through and we discuss their issues, and I lay out garden plans for them. Not that I do it for myself. I do everything ass backwards. It's I put all my plants in, and then I put my paths in. So all the plants are in the garden, and I just finished putting the paths in last week. So
I saw that. Where did I see that? Where did you post that?
Facebook.
Really? That's weird, because I don't ever go to Facebook. I must have, though, because I did see it. I did see the paths, and you said something about you spent all day. You even put the amount, the tonnage or something of how much you put in.
It was 2.5 yards of gravel, so that's 7,500 pounds of gravel.
Yeah.
That I had to move. It took me 3 days. But what I do is I work a few hours in the morning, gets too hot, come in. I go back out about 5 o'clock at night when it's cool. I work for another 3 hours. And this way, look, that's one of the great things about retirement. I'm not in a rush.
Yeah. You got time.
So I did it by myself. And then before that, I put 16.5 yards of mulch out there. And I do have I have a John Deere lawn tractor, and I have a trailer. So basically the mulch I just bought was 210 bags of mulch.
Wow.
I just threw them in the back of the trailer, rode them out there, and I have a gorilla cart. Throw the bags in there, and the gorilla cart has a dump. I just dump it and go back out, and it's just repetitive.
Sounds fun.
It was, it's stuff that had to be done, but I enjoy it. And
and I can almost smell it.
No,
I can smell it. I can smell that mulch.
And I play them. I have my music playing out there loud, and just keep going.
Have a beverage.
So.
Patty said, and I love this. She says it's really freaking funny that Paul thinks he doesn't sound anything except New Jersey. The New Jersey comes out. Yeah, MFer. It's out all the time.
Yeah, look, I've been down. I have my friends that say, "How come you haven't picked up a Southern accent?" I says, "Do you really think I'm going to be walking around saying how y'all doing?"
No. Is it strong in North Carolina? I didn't think it was that strong there. Is it?
Yeah,
used to a New Jersey guy probably is.
It depends. It depends on, there are some that I can barely understand. They got this really long drawl. I think the thing is, when you're from New Jersey, there's a couple things. We talk fast.
Yeah.
And we don't sugarcoat things. It's kind of like you get like down here, you'll get bless your heart. And it's kind of like it's basically telling it you're a freaking idiot. and in Jersey, we're just going to say you're a freaking idiot.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It's just
but we don't. And again, it's not being. We don't say to be nasty, but we're very straightforward. I think that just because all the hustle and bustle, and you're living
a lot closer together in most of New Jersey.
You've got 18 million people within a 100-mile radius of you. I mean, the density of people, it's like when I moved down here, they say, how come people from New Jersey don't wave? Because down here, you get the locals, they wave at everybody. When I first moved here, I'm taking the dog for a walk, and people are waving at me. I'm like, what the hell are they waving at? I'm looking behind.
We do that too. We do that upstate too. Yeah.
So somebody asked me, I says, look, do you realize where I came from? The density. I says, if I was to wave at everybody, my hand would be like this.
Yeah.
I have to have a splint on it so I could move my hand down. It's just where you live, it's I think that's also one of the reasons that at least me and my family, we're a little bit more open-minded, because we had so many more cultures we had to live with, and it just wasn't, we had, you named a nationality and they're there.
Yeah.
I mean, you name the nationality in the world, they live in New York. So there's a lot of different, you're exposed to a lot of different cultures, which is, at some point in everybody's life, they should spend, a good month and just see what's going on down there. It's just eye-opening what goes on there.
And I think, that's a very important. We can learn a lot from people that come up from different cultures. And I think it's a great thing, that diversity. I'm down to where Alexander gave me that, super chat again. And just, I never know how to say thank you enough to Alexander, and just the sincerity that I want to portray. We had a discussion after we did the focus on, so he knows where I'm coming from, but it's amazing that he does it. It's not just for me. He's been just hitting up channels left and right and showing so much support for us. And I just want to, for everybody in the Fish Fam, thank you for what you do. Patty again says, Paul could have been my UPS guy. They told me it was safe to ship weed years ahead of its time. Thanks, Paul and UPS. All right. Looking for the at Rico stand now. I'm not seeing a lot of it. There we go. I'm all the way down to Zen Ginger at 19 minutes past the top of the hour. Again, Paul, how are you doing on time? Everything good? You need a break? You need to get something to drink? Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Reverse question from Zenny. If Paul could know the absolute and total truth to one question, what question would he ask? Something you don't know, nobody knows, but you could ask that question and find out 100% with no yes, true, false, whatever it is.
What's the winning number to the $500 million lottery?
Okay. All right.
That's because my wife and I have talked. We both our parents, both sets of parents. Well, my mom and her mom and dad are still alive, but we've talked about what we want to do in the future, and we really want to do a lot of traveling. You know, I've been to Europe a lot. I really enjoy Europe, but there's also a lot of this country I haven't been to. I would like to go out to, you know, like to see the Grand Canyon and stuff like that. Just go traveling.
Yeah.
And we had thought we were going to do that prior, but again, like I said, I lost my sister a few years ago, and that kind of put a wrench in it because we had to, you know, just couldn't travel with what happened.
Yeah.
She was sick for so long. So that would be it. You know, I if you could tell me that, I could tell you that I had the winning numbers.
Yeah. You want to be so that you never have to worry about doing anything.
FU money. That's what I want.
Yep. Zenny would like to know what you wanted to be when you grew up, when you were little, assuming he's not a robot and was a child once.
The Pope.
The Pope? When you were a kid, you wanted to be the Pope?
My mother, I said, "Mom, I'm going to be the Pope." You can't.
Why? Was it the funny hat?
Yeah. Well, no, because you know, I went Catholic school.
Yeah.
And they used to say, "What do you want to be?" And I used to say, "I want to be the Pope." And my mother said, "You can't be the Pope. You're a devil."
She knew you.
But that I basically.
Uh-oh. We might have lost you. You're frozen right now. I don't know if you can hear me.
I got you. We lost.
There we go.
Froze.
You're back.
I don't know if I ever had a job when there was something that I wanted to do when I was a kid, because I always had my fingers into so many different things. I just did stuff. There was things that interested me and I did it. At one point I wanted to be a football player. I mean, I played college football. So I wanted to be a professional football player. And then I wanted to be a professional baseball player when I was a kid because I'm fairly good at it. Love football. But, you know, obviously, you know, then the realization comes in, yeah, you're good, but you're not that good.
Yeah.
So I just do things that interest me. You know, I mean, granted, the UPS job was a job. It was an end to a means, or means to an end. As far as getting me to the goal line, to seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't regret working there, but it wasn't my dream job, but it got me to the point I'm at now.
I always wanted to be a forest ranger. Ranger Rick. That's what I wanted to be. I went into computers instead.
I mean, I even did that for a while. I was, you know, I had a side gig doing web pages. I got interested in it, and I started, you know, I taught myself how to do Photoshop and all that other good stuff. You know, I opened up books and I taught myself. So
Patty said that hundo is not a pill because I called it. It looks like a pill up there, and she said it's a suppository. Okay, we got that one, and I'm at the bottom of the chat. I made it all the way to the bottom of the chat, and Zen Ginger just came in with one more. If he could pick one type of animal to talk to, would you choose fish or something else? Something that you could actually understand and they could understand you.
I used to have parrots, so they used to talk to me all the time.
Dogs for me. Dogs for sure.
I've always been a dog person. The reason I had parrots is because they were just easier to keep with my schedule. They didn't need to be walked. I really got into it at one point because I think I had 12 of them. I would take it. People would just abandon them, because they were like the thing to have. It was like Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Everybody had to have clownfish. Well, everybody had to have parrots at one point. So there was a lot of birds that just got abandoned, and sucker. I took them in. I had, everything from cockatoos to cockatiels.
Yep.
At one point, because the birds needed homes.
Yeah.
So, in fact, my last one, my gray, died earlier this year. He died. I had him for 27 years.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I mean, that's just like a dog. I mean,
Yeah. Oh no,
they get to be, you know.
he
Yeah.
would they would whistle for me. They knew when I came in, and they whistle for me. They would start whistling before I pulled in the driveway. They would start whistling. And what happened was, now he was never a big talker, the gray. Um, he was what I call a closet talker. He would talk when he didn't think anybody was home.
Oh, gotcha.
So I went to work, and Nancy had a late day, so she didn't have to go in right away. So she slept in, and she was taking a shower, and she starts hearing a man's voice, and she's freaking because she knows I'm not home. And it's now when she sticks her head out of the bathroom out the bathroom door, it's my voice. She goes, "Paul, what the hell are you doing?" It was the bird.
But you didn't know he could, or didn't know that he did talk.
Well, we didn't know he did it until she was sitting home, because I could never get him to talk. He would whistle and he would dance, but he would never talk. When we weren't home, he talked.
We had a cockatiel that would, you know, Barney. He would talk a little bit. He would say a few things. Cockatiel. Yeah, that's the biggest one we had, though. We had a few of those. Oh, we had lovebirds. I guess they're a little bit bigger. Probably not. Probably about the same. Just the lovebirds a lot fatter. Most of them were smaller ones, though. Zebra finches. I love those. We used to have little guys.
Yeah, but talking is the dog. I talk to him. He talks to me. He'll just sit here around like Scooby-Doo.
Our female pug does that. She is very, very vocal. And then Tucker only makes noises when it's dinner time.
Well, yeah.
That's the only time. He doesn't bark or anything. He doesn't make any, except for coughing. He coughs. He's got the same cough that I do. Mickham would like to know, what dish would relatives and friends ask Paul to cook if they could ask for only one? That's a great question. What do you cook the most, or what do your friends and relatives love that you cook the most?
I do. Well, there's a few. I do, like, if they ask me for dessert, it's either going to be a cheesecake or tiramisu. I do risotto, and I can make risotto a million different ways, because it's basically just making the rice and then throwing stuff in it. Then I have Sunday sauce.
Sunday sauce.
So that's basically a meat-based tomato sauce that you cook the snot out of. You start it. You cook it for about 4 hours. It's got sausage, veal, meatballs.
Okay.
Beef.
We never called it. I don't remember what my grandpa called it, but it wasn't Sunday sauce. But he would make it all the time.
And that's not from my family's part of Italy.
Yeah.
My aunt, my uncle's wife, she's Southern Italian. She's the one who got me started doing it.
Gotcha.
Wish
I could remember what he called it.
My family's from up north, and they don't really do much in tomato sauce. More brown sauces. And then I've been doing a lot of, since we moved down here, I do pulled pork. Really, but I do it in Instapot. So I fake the smoke. I use smoked paprika to get the smoke flavor. And then I make my own, and I make my Carolina vinegar barbecue sauce. So it's eggplant parmesan. I do that. It's basically it depends on what they want, what kind of meal this is going to be, and that's what they ask me to make.
Why do these streams always turn to food? I have not had dinner yet tonight, and usually I eat dinner pretty early most nights, and they always turn to food, and my stomach starts rumbling. Like right just now,
I haven't been asked what my favorite sandwich is yet.
Who does the favorite? That's Joe Stanley, or is that no? It's Eric Wyrock. Eric Wyrock usually asks that one. Well, what is your favorite sandwich?
I have two. The one is strictly New Jersey. It's Taylor ham, fried egg with American cheese on a hard roll.
Okay.
Taylor ham is just it's a pork roll. If you're anyplace else, it's pork roll. In Jersey, it's Taylor ham.
Okay.
So and that's what we used to have when we were out till 3-4 o'clock in the morning doing whatever. So that was our breakfast of champions if we didn't go to Chinatown. And then the other one is it's Italian one. It's prosciutto, capicola, some kind of salami, fresh mozzarella with balsamic vinegar and tomato on a nice hard hero roll. A nice Italian roll. None of this white bread stuff.
All right, we're gonna have to end it too soon because now I have to have dinner. It's bothering me though because I don't remember the Sunday sauce. My grandpa would make it. My grandpa was a cook in the Navy. He was on a ship in World War II, and man, I cannot remember what he would call it, but it wasn't Sunday sauce. But he had a special name for it, and he would make it. And he would always make these, and there was nobody there. He'd make huge batches of food, and there was nobody. It was like my grandma, my grandpa, my mom, dad, me, and my brother, and that would be it. That would be all of us, and there would just be, the pots of sauce are like huge,
and the bread into it.
Yo,
yeah, see, the reason they call it Sunday sauce is that they used to start it before they went to church. And so when they were at church, they put it on low and it would cook until they came back from church. So they go out, they go to church, they go to wherever they do their Sunday shopping, they go to the bakery, whatever they do. And then they come back. By the time they came back, they sat down and then the sauce would be ready. They put the pasta in the water and then away you go. That's why that's how I was told it was called, because they would do it on Sundays. But being retired, I can do it any day of the week.
He says, "No, I'm now booking a ticket for a plane to the U.S." And on that note, I think we're going to end. We went 2 hours and 10 minutes. There's still 44 people in here watching. Thanks everybody for being here. Anything you want to say before or anything you got coming up, or anything you want to that we didn't really touch on?
Hopefully I'll be able to see some of you at the Triple Crown. Unfortunately, Rico can't make it. But hopefully
there'll be a lot of really cool people there, though. Yeah,
meet some of you people there in person. If you ever have a question and if I can answer it for you, I'll be glad to do it. Whether it's fish, cooking, gardening, I can, and even some DIY stuff. I've dabbled in all of it. So if you've got any questions that I can help you with, feel free. I'm around. But other than that, it's been great.
Matt said, "Don't trust that." He likes to hit the end button mid-sentence, and that's I'm picking my times now because I was doing it too much. So now I pick my times. I wait until the person says something and it's at the right time. Ed got me good though. He did it to me too, and he got me good. It was awesome. If you need any heads bashed in, please contact Paulie. Oh yeah, you got to say that. What did he say? We're out of here. Is that what it was?
Get out of here.
Get out of here. There we go. Thanks everybody. Next week we have Joseph Stanley will be our guest on the Focus On. Don't have a Saturday one planned for this week, but we'll probably end up doing a Saturday one too. So I might reach out to somebody. Don't have one planned, but so keep your eyes peeled if you're on the list. If you're not on the list and you'd like to be on the list, Rico at Rico Stan, way up there at the top of the screen. That's my email. Shoot me an email. And again, doesn't matter channel size, doesn't matter, any of that, none of that stuff matters. If you are part of the Fish Fam, please, I want to interview everybody at some point. So shoot me an email so I can add you to the list, please. Thanks so much, everybody. Again, Alexander, thanks for all the other super chats too. Thanks, you guys, and have a good night.
Good night, everybody.